Thank you. Yes, so it's been a while since I've spoken actually. I did talk about Southern Right Wales, which was my comfort wheelhouse. So this is, I'm in a new job, in a new role. So this is a little bit different for me. But I wanted to start by introducing the EMAC Sea Country team. We're a new team in Eastern Maar. We've only been here since January 2024. And we're a group of Indigenous custodians, boat operators, environmental managers and scientists, and we're working together to assert Eastern Mar's place in managing sea country and re-establish traditional custodianship. So there's only a team of 4. There's myself, we have Dave Williams, our Sea Country Coordinator, and we have Philip Chatfield and Corinne Clark, our Sea Country Guardians, and they're going to help present today. So I'm just going to hand over to Dave to talk about the work of the team in recent times.
Thanks, Mandy. Oh, you've done it already. So, yeah, as a coordinator, I've sort of got a more on-ground focus than Mandy. Um, we're currently basically upskilling so that we can get out on the country more and conduct some research. So part of that's including a lot of vessel handling, and guys are doing coxswain's courses, quite a few across our organisation. So we've got a little boat that we're getting out and using. It's not the greatest little boat ever, but it certainly gets it started. It's a little rib there. So for the inshore work, it's actually quite useful, but to go out a little bit further, we might need something a little different going forward. But yeah, so we're getting out and learning how to sort of run a boat and use a boat. So berthing plus the maintenance side of things. We're getting down and dirty with ropes and splicings and all those sort of practical skills. Um, we've got a pretty heavy OH&S load at the moment while we set up sort of the back end of things with procedures and JSAs and swims and whichever acronym you like, but making sure we've got processes and procedures that keep us all safe. And then we're also getting in the water. So we're doing some work with CEC where we've been doing some snorkeling surveys and some intertidal work. So we've been getting ourselves some skills in that space as well, and attending conferences. So before I started, everybody got to do all the holidays, I might add, but now it's hopefully next year it's just the same. But they went up to Darwin and did the First Nations Land and Water Management, SMM in Perth, and also AMSA in Melbourne. So everybody's been getting around. So I hope to do the same. But yeah, I'm actually out of the office and outside, so I love it. It's a great team to join. Yeah, thanks. Hand over now to Phil.
So Eastern Maar Sea Country extends from Yambuk in the west to Aries Inlet in the east and seaward as far as the eye can see and beyond. Changing sea levels have not washed away history, the physical evidence or connection to sea country. Abundant coastal middens and tangible cultural heritage along the coastlines. Evidence of unbroken present story and survival since the arrival of Europeans into our territory 190 years ago. Despite colonisation, Maar society has always retained a close relationship with sea country. This country was never ceded by the Eastern Maar fundamental truth, which must be acknowledged by anyone proposing to undertake research or development on Eastern Maar country. Thank you.
Okay. So our current research projects we have on the go, we have our Kuntapul research project with our in-house Kuntapul expert Mandy. We're also building skills and research techniques such as Southern Right Whale photo ID, eDNA sampling, drones and mapping. We're also working closely with a number of partners, including Good Engineering and DECA on the Dean Maar rabbit eradication project. And fingers crossed, we'll hopefully be able to officially say that Dean Maar is rabbit free in October when we do our last trip there, which is a massive achievement from all our partnerships. Other partnerships are Conservation Ecology Centre doing intertidal surveys, Deakin Uni doing seaweed and ocean photos and fish studies, CSIRO deploying acoustic great white shark monitors, and lastly Phillip Island Nature Park, which Rebecca will be talking about next.
So we've only been there for 18 months and we've really focused on upskilling and training and development, that sort of thing. But we're also focused on developing relationships with researchers, but also proponents. So in the marine space, there's been a lot of work going on for decades in that area that Eastern Mar's largely been excluded from. And our role is to really reassert our role or Eastern Mar's role in managing that country. So to achieve that, we're really going to focus in the next 12 months on developing a sea country plan, which will include position statements, if you like, on some of the impacts on sea country, such as oil and gas, offshore renewables, fishing, pollution, all that sort of thing. It will also include position statements regarding research, so things like identifying knowledge gaps that are important to Eastern Mar, and setting priorities, leading research, partnering and upskilling with trusted partners, and we'll also speak to data sovereignty. We'll also develop specific research plans on specific biocultural values. So for example, Kuntapul, which has been mentioned, Kuyang, the eel, corn moon, shearwaters, which I won't try and pronounce because I'll mess it up, sharks, stingrays, kelp, shellfish, and a whole range of other values. That's just to name a few, but it'll be really about talking to community, and we have to have lots of conversations with community. This is not going to be developed in isolation of community. We really need to sit down and talk to mob. And as I said, there is so much going on out there that we need to have a lot of different conversations, and that's going to take time. But one of the things that might be useful for researchers who are already working on country or proposing to or hoping to is we're hoping to publish, perhaps earlier than the Sea Country Plan, is a set of engagement principles for working on sea country. So that plan will include these engagement principles, but we may be able to get that up sooner. This will speak to the self-determination continuum. So inform, consult, collaborate, partner, ownership, decision-making and resource control. It'll speak to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and specifically around free, prior and informed consent and what that looks like for Eastern Mar. It will spell out specific expectations such as acknowledging that sea country is unceded territory and recognising Eastern Mar's parity with the Crown. There'll be an expectation that people will have read the Sea Country Plan before they approach us, understood Eastern Mar's assertions and priorities, understand what unceded territory means, particularly in relation to data sovereignty, so data ownership, data sharing, that sort of thing. And we'll speak about engaging and how to engage early for the purposes of co-design, because co-design is really what it's all about. It's not about dreaming up a project and then coming to Eastern Mar saying we'd like to partner. You actually need to be talking to Eastern Mar when you're thinking about the project and what it looks like. And it will, just to finish off, we'll specifically talk to about the value of relationships, which has kind of been touched on quite a bit this morning. We tend to be working with trusted partners, and some of those have been mentioned already today. And existing relationships are really important, but developing relationships is also going to be key, and you need time to do that you can't expect those sorts of things to happen overnight. So we'd like to welcome questions. We are, as I said, we're a new team. We've got a lot of work to do, and we're really excited about it. So thanks for having us.
So any questions for Mandy and the team? I should say too, at the end of this session, we're going to have a panel where someone from this team will be on stage as well. But yeah, any questions? I haven't organised the microphones, so. All right, maybe we'll get you at the end. Oh, yeah, I'll get you. I'll get you.
Thanks very much, everybody. Good to see you up there, David. Great job.
Thank you, Craig.
I have a question out of you've just taken it down,
Oh,
Jack. Sorry, it was with respect to one of those slides.
can I go back to it for you, Craig?
If you could, that would be, I think, really helpful to all of us.
Can you preface it before I get
Yeah,
there?
yeah. It was the last slide, or the last slide that was up there. Yeah, that's it. Sincerely out of respect and curiosity, and it might be something to leave for another day, but I'd be really interested and curious to learn more about understanding of what unceded territory means in relation to data sovereignty and data collection and data ownership.
Yes, a lot of people would be asking the same question, I think. So we're still teasing that out. But I think if you start with the fundamental principle that country was not ceded, and if you look at data in terms of its value and think of it as a resource, then you can think about what does it mean to be collecting data without actually having any kind of acknowledgement or involvement or consent. And if you're benefiting from that data, particularly in any way. So this conversation relates not just to researchers, but also to proponents that are out there doing oil and gas, for example, to do offshore wind. So there are multiple companies out there currently collecting lots of the same data and not sharing that information with each other, let alone with traditional owners. So we're sort of taking the view that you need to think about what does it mean that country was never ceded and people are out there collecting data without any knowledge. But in terms of the specifics, we will be developing that more over time in terms of what that practically means for research particularly. So that requires lots of conversations with mob.
We'll pick you up on the panel.